Hey guys, it's Jo and welcome back to Trauma Talk. We're talking about counseling today. So I recommend all the time on my channel and when I'm talking to people, when it is available and when it is right for someone to go to counseling if you can. And I want to talk today sort of about my experience with counseling and why it has been such a powerful thing for me. I remember my first counseling experience was in college before the worst of my abuse happened and before I met my the worst abuser. And I remember walking into her office and literally the first words out of my mouth were, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I don't want to waste your time. I don't think I need to be here. I really think I'm okay." And this wasn't like me trying to joke. I really thought I was okay. I really didn't think I needed to be there. I really thought everything was okay. And I'm grateful that I had a talented enough therapist that she was like, "Okay, cool, awesome. You don't need to be here, but let's have a conversation anyways." And so I sat down and I stood back up a year later after that first year of college. I was in counseling for about a year, worked through a lot of stuff that I needed to work through. And I think counseling can be helpful to a lot of people who have gone through a lot of different things, but I think specifically when we've gone through trauma rewires our brains like we've talked about before, and I can do another video about that at another point. But I knew after I was assaulted that I was not thinking straight. I knew that I could not, my brain was no longer functioning the right way. I knew that who I was splintered. And I knew that I wasn't going to be interacting with people the same way I was before. I knew that I couldn't respond to things the same way that I was before. I just knew that I wasn't the same person. And I just had this feeling like I need to talk to someone. I need them to tell me what's going on. And it wasn't my intention to go to counseling for an extremely long period of time, but I had been in counseling for I think 2 years basically for the first segment of time, and then I took about a year off, and then I was in for another 8 months, and then I took a couple years off, and then I've been back in for almost a year now. So I've been in and out of counseling, and it has been insanely helpful to me for helping me figure out what I'm feeling, helping me refocus, and helping me actually process through what I'm dealing with and not just cope. The last video I talked about coping versus processing, and I think it is so easy, at least for me, to get caught in a cycle of just coping. Just reaching for coping skills to get through the day, to survive, to function, to go to work, to interact with someone, to whatever, and never get to the root cause of something. To just live a very abbreviated life and not engage with the awful things, because why would we want to do that? We do that so that we can get to a better place. We do that so we don't have to cope anymore, like I was talking about. So a counselor can be really helpful because they are a sounding board. A counselor can be helpful because they generally understand how brains work after trauma, especially if they specialize in trauma. So I would recommend finding a trauma-trained counselor. And I think more than anything, for me, it's someone to check in with and to make sure that I'm not avoiding things. Now, counselors aren't going to pressure you faster than you want to go. And I know for the first 2 years of counseling, I kind of went in circles, and that was kind of just fine because I was needing to survive, and there was so much that happened. There was no way to work through all of it. There was no way that I was going to be able to process all of that. And so I had a counselor who really just helped me find tools to survive, helped me find tools to make it. And then I quit counseling for a while and just used those tools and thought I was okay. And then I realized I was really not okay because I hadn't processed a lot of things. And so I went back and I tried to process some things, and then, kind of the cycle continued. But they can be incredibly helpful, especially when you find the right one, for helping you to pace yourself. How quickly you want to process through things, what you're ready for and what you're not ready for. And I know that I didn't really trust myself after everything that happened. And I hope that you do trust yourself, because you are worthy of trust, but I know that I had difficulty getting to a place where I trusted myself. And so a counselor was really helpful for me because I trusted them. I could trust their opinion. I could trust what they were saying. And so if I had scary thoughts or things I was contemplating or questions, I could ask them and I would trust what they were saying. So counseling has been really helpful to me for a variety of reasons, but it is really important that you find the right therapist. I've had a couple that were really not the right therapists, and had very negative counseling experiences. So if you're not like jiving with your counselor, find another one. There are so many out there, and I promise you'll find someone who meshes with you, who you work with really well. I know that it can be a really scary thing to think about doing or to try to engage with, especially if you have a lot of things to unpack. Just know that they're not going to press you or pressure you or make you go faster than you can go. So it's going to go step by step. You're not going to like open up the whole box of things all at once. It's going to be in pieces that you can handle, and it's going to be at your speed. Thanks guys so much for tuning in. Have you gone to counseling or thought about going to counseling? Or have you gone to counseling and didn't like it? I would love to hear your experiences. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I am Jo Beckwith, and this is Trauma Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. I release videos every other day about topics about life after trauma and living with mental health issues and mental illness. So I would love to see you in the next video the day after tomorrow. Please hit subscribe if you're on YouTube, or like if you're on Facebook, and I will see you in the video day after tomorrow. Take care of yourselves.